101. Food, people. Let's talk about food. And today I have my special guest. He's the author of the book Leadership Accelerators. None other than Mr. Michael deLisser.
Thank you for having me on.
Welcome, Mr. Michael, on Food 101. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yeah, so my entire career, I've had a passion for helping people improve their communication skills and their relationships. And so, my company is focused entirely on helping people become more self-aware, increase their ability to communicate well with others, and improve relationships. And I coach executives. I also custom build leadership development programs and do a lot of one-on-one coaching with people in communication skills. And when I'm not writing a book, I am eating spicy food. So I was excited to come on this program and talk about that as well. It's another one of my passions.
Yes, it's spicy food. And thank you so much for sharing your favorite food to the world, Mr. Michael. And spicy indeed. So tell us, why do you like spicy food?
Well, I should start by saying initially I did not like spicy food, but my wife insisted that I learn how to eat spicy because it was one of her passions and she wanted to share that passion with me. So over many years, I've built up my tolerance and I've gotten to the point now where I crave it. So it took a long time to get there. But for me, what I love about spicy foods is it just gives an extra experience to the food. You know, when you feel that heat, it and there is a process that goes on in your body where it causes endorphins to be released. So I just love the feeling of it, and now I crave it all the time. So
Now you're craving spicy food, Mr. Michael. So, can you explain what actually happening in our body when something very spicy that triggers our our craving?
yeah, and so I'll tell you that anyone can learn to be able to handle spicy, even if they don't now. But what happens is our bodies they actually they have a built-in mechanism to protect your body. So, like for example, if something was hot and it burned you, your body would flinch and you would get away from it. You know, so we have this built-in mechanism, but at the same time, that mechanism causes the body to give off endorphins, which are the same kind of things that happen when someone might drink alcohol or might, just experience a moment of intense emotion, right? So in any case, your body goes through this process, and if you give too much heat at once, your body will react negatively. But if you slowly build up your tolerance over time, your body starts to crave it and want it more, and eventually you get to the point where you think to yourself, "Oh, how can I make this dish more spicy?" So it builds up over time, but as long as you do it gradually, it could be a great experience. It's people sometimes they have a really hot experience and then they get afraid of it, but you have to work your way up to it.
Interesting, Mr. Michael. So, do you have a specific dish that you're craving every time?
I have many dishes. It depends on the meal and what we would do. For example, for breakfast, a lot of times we'll do one of two things. We love eggs in general, so if we make a quiche, we might find some kind of smoky hatch chilies or something to add into the quiche to give it that extra zip. If we're having just regular eggs, the thing I like to do, I like to take my favorite salsa, and people can do this with their favorite hot sauce, and I mix it into the eggs as I'm scrambling them, and then it gives it just a great flavor throughout your eggs to have that cooking into it as you go. That's the breakfast one, but I mean, I could give you lots of examples. So,
Yes, definitely. So describe the perfect bite of the dish. How does the heat build when you feel it? And how do other flavors like salty, sour, sweet, or umami dance with the spice?
And I'm glad you mentioned that. It's important to establish a balance. So one of the things I do, like for example, one of my favorite peppers is this is called a Morito pepper. It's
Morito.
Morita actually with an A at the end, and a
Mm-hmm.
Morita pepper is actually it's smoked. It's a smoked jalapeno for the most part.
Okay, yes.
But what it does is when you chop it up and you put it in the oil of any dish. So if you put a little olive oil or whatever oil you cook with, and you just leave that in there for a minute or two, it will start to soften up and the oil will start to turn like kind of an orangey color. But that is the basis for many of our recipes. We start with that oil that has the flavor of the pepper in it. And you could take any pepper and saute it in the oil, and it'll distribute it well across your meal. And then of course you have to balance it, with not making it too spicy, or if you're doing something sweet, having the right amount of balance between sweetness and heat. But it all depends on your own preferences. And these peppers, these Morita peppers, you can buy them online. I go to a place called My Spice Sage. Some of them are hotter than others, so you can always test the heat of a pepper by cutting it in half and touching your tongue to the part where the vein is in the middle. That's the hottest part of the pepper. If the pepper's too hot, you can cut the middle part out and make it less hot. And if it's not hot enough, you can add it in. So you can adapt the heat of any pepper by understanding that it gets hotter and hotter towards the top, and the middle part is where the most of the heat is. But we regularly mix it in with the oil, and then you can, whatever you're cooking, it'll bring that flavor to everything in it.
Mr. Michael, what's the full experience of eating it like from the first anticipatory whiff of the final endorphin filled sigh?
Well, I will tell you, these peppers, these Morito ones, you could sit and smell them all day. They bring so much smoky flavor. Like when you open the bag, people are amazed at the smell. But for the most part, as you're putting together any dish, you need to be testing the heat and make sure that it's the right mix, right? So you could put just a half a pepper at first, and if it's not hot enough, you can add an extra half a pepper. But it's important to not overdo it. I can give you one example. I made a bolognese sauce, and I put a number of these peppers in it, but I also put in some other peppers to try to make it spicy. It became so hot that even my wife, who can handle very, very spicy, she couldn't handle it either.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to make the sauce. We had to make 4 times as much of the sauce just to bring the heat down. So one of the most important things you have to do is find an understanding of the pepper you're working with, because every pepper is different, and control how much you put in to match your heat tolerance.
Is there a specific restaurant, a street vendor, a region you associate to buy this kind of pepper?
That pepper we learned from a restaurant that was in Austin, and he's no longer there, but he turned us on to them. But you can buy them, online as well. But not a lot of restaurants would use that particular type of pepper. They all have their own preferences and everything. But what we do is we bring peppers with us to every restaurant. So if the
Hmm.
restaurant offers a dish and it's not spicy enough for you, you bring your own pepper, or you can ask for sliced pepper on the side. But sometimes they don't have, they might have a serrano, or they might have a jalapeno, but you have to come prepared to bring your own heat if they don't have it. So you can always have a pepper in your pocket, or some kind of chili in your pocket.
Ready to put in anything you want to eat. So for many, spicy food is a comfort food, Mr. Michael.
Mhm.
Does this provide you something else when spicy is not around?
So are you saying, is there something other than spicy I like? I'm not sure I understood the
Yes.
question.
So spicy is sometimes it's a comfort food. Let's say there's
Yeah.
no spice or spicy thing in the food. Is it okay for you?
Yeah, I mean, some dishes are just better without spice, but I find more often than not, you can make dishes better by adding it, and a lot of times we will, and sometimes you have guests that don't want it as spicy as you. So you need to have
Mm.
a plan to be able to meet their needs and your needs as well. So, for example, we take habanero peppers and we mince them up into small pieces, and then we add lime juice, salt, pepper, and garlic, and we turn it into almost like a habanero relish. It's just basically habaneros in lime juice, and we can put that on the dish on the table. And if someone's eating fish, you can give them a piece of fish that has no peppers on it, but you could take this and spread it on the top, and it makes it spicy enough for you. So that's one of the keys. People realize, oh, I want to make something spicy, but I know I have a guest who's coming that doesn't like spicy. Well, you can find all the other ways to bring spice to it, or you can just make your dishes without spice because some things are just good straight up and they don't need it. But I find that I think most everything gets better with it.
Yes,
So
definitely. So, how would you describe the specific quality of the heat? Is it sharp, front to the mouth sting, a deep or sinus clearing burn, or slow or smoldering warm?
there are so many. I'm glad. I mean, that's one of the challenges. Is each pepper brings a different type of heat. Like for me, habaneros, the heat lasts and it stays with you, and it's harder to get the heat out of your mouth. But something like wasabi in a Japanese restaurant, for example, I once ate a wasabi roll. It was just rice with seaweed around the outside and nothing but wasabi in the middle. And for a moment, I thought my head was going to explode because the wasabi was so strong,
Yes.
but it goes away pretty quickly. So that kind of heat goes away. So you have to understand the peppers you're eating because some of them have a lingering heat, some of them just have heat on the front end. Some of them are very quick to burn and then they disappear. But it's very different on. And the more you learn about chilies, the more you can do that. Pick the right one for your particular interests or your heat level that you like.
So, Mr. Michael, what is your mandatory beverage or side dish to enjoy this spicy food?
Well, you can make your drinks and things spicy as well.
Likewise.
Or we'll
Yes.
put you can put a slice of habanero or something into a beer. You can put it into a margarita. You can do all sorts of things. But typically, when I'm eating spicy, I would be more likely to reach for something like a beer or something refreshing that's cold as opposed to a glass of wine. For me, I don't like wine as much with spicy, but it depends on what people's drink preferences are. If you drink lemonade, you don't drink alcohol, you can add habanero to that and make it a little more hot too. And I've even made a friend of mine who's a chef. He makes jalapeno bacon chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, wow.
So think about that combination. You would never think you would take a chocolate chip cookie, which is sweet, and add bacon, which gives it a little bit of a salty, savory, and then you add jalapeno with a little heat, and that's really interesting too. So there's no limit to what you can do. It's a matter of what your preferences are and what you feel works with spice and what doesn't.
Yes, you can use anywhere, people. Anything that you want to put in it. So, when is the ideal time to enjoy spicy food? Is it a celebratory feast, a solo treat, or a weekend recovery meal?
Um, for me, it's almost every meal, but I know.
Every
I mean,
meal,
some
yes.
people, for example, there are certain foods that people associate with events. Like sometimes people like hot chicken wings, and that might go with watching a sporting event or something. So there are certain foods that you or comfort foods that you associate with an event that you can go with. But for me, I look at what do I want to cook and then how can I make it spicy. So it's and I still can't handle as much heat as my wife can. So I have to be careful because if I'm cooking something or I have to add enough spice to make her happy, but not to the point that I feel like my head is going to explode if I eat it. So it's a balancing act. And again, if you always have an extra pepper on the side, whoever likes it spicier can just make it more hot as they go.
Yes, like on the go Tabasco. So, have you ever tried to create a dish that's so spicy? And what's the biggest challenges in capturing its magic?
The hardest thing is knowing. You have to understand that if you buy a container of say 6 peppers, whether they're serrano or jalapeno or habanero, each pepper may be a different level of heat. Like, and many times you'll have one person bite into one jalapeno and say, this one's not hot at all, but the other one is very hot. So the key is if you're cooking with them, you need to cut them in half and test the heat. And for me, I always cut a little piece out of the middle and I touch it to my tongue. And if my tongue is on fire from that, I know I'm dealing with a hot pepper. If it's not, then I know I can use the whole pepper and not have to be careful. So that's where people make mistakes is they buy peppers and they think, oh, the last time I bought this pepper, it was only a little bit hot. So it should be okay this time. And it just so happens the pepper they cut into is much hotter this time, and they weren't ready for that. So you always need to test the heat of the peppers before you add them to any dish, because you may make it so spicy that it's not edible, or it may not be spicy enough for you.
Indeed, so Mr. Michael, if you compare your book to spicy, what where you can compare?
All right, that's a great question. So I would say my book is moderately spicy,
Mm.
because uh, people who read it who are trying to improve their communication skill, they may be a little bit of discomfort initially because they're doing self assessments and they're learning about where they're not so good at communication. But if they apply the things from the book, they'll be able to be in a position where they dramatically improve, and then they start to feel that positive sensation of the burn of learning. So I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but that's the analogy I would use. I think it's moderately spicy because it may be uncomfortable at first, but when you're done, you'll feel much better because you went through the activities.
Indeed, truly, truly spicy. Leadership accelerators, for sure. And Mr. Michael, what would this be without spice? And let's say your egg or scrambled egg or whatever, without the spice, do you think you will eat it even
You
there's no
know,
spicy?
for me, the one food that I never want spice on is pizza. I mean, I don't.
Mm,
I like
yes.
pizza just for the flavors of it. So, and I grew up in New York, and I enjoyed really good New York thin crust pizza. And for me, I'd rather have a pure piece of pizza with nothing on it, nothing spicy, because. And some people like to put the pepper flakes on their pizza, but for me, that's one of my food that I would not want to add heat to, because I just think it's so good the way it is. There's no reason to mess with it.
Definitely. So is there another spicy thing like jalapeno that comes close to dethrone your favorite?
One of my favorites is we call it it's a chutney, but and we put it on Indian food a lot when we make Indian food, or but you can put it on any kind of meat. But we make a chutney. It's basically the ingredients are apples, mint, cucumber, serranos or jalapenos, cinnamon, and then a little bit of either orange juice of an orange or of lime. And when you mix those all up, and you have that combination of the sweetness of the fruits and the mint and the cinnamon, and then the heat, and then you could put it, like we'll put it on top of a pork tenderloin that we cook on the grill, but some people might want to have it on steak, or they might want to have it on a fish dish. Sometimes we mix it in with our salads, but it's a chutney that is just a mixture of these sweets and these heats, and it comes out really nice. And that little bit of cinnamon gives it more of a, I'll say, an Indian food feel to it. You can even put a little bit of cumin in it as well if you like, but it goes great on a lot of different meats. And we'll make a batch of that and leave it in the fridge and put it on our salads. We'll put it on our different types of main courses, or whatever it is that you choose to eat.
Mm, yes, indeed. And Mr. Michael, would you recommend any kind of dish to someone looking to level up their spice tolerance, or it is strictly for seasoned veterans?
I think you need to go with what your favorite foods are, and then learn to manage the spice level. For example, I said earlier, for you to figure out how hot a pepper is, you can cut into the middle of it and make sure you cut into the vein that goes down the middle and touch it to your tongue. But the amount of peppers you use, the type of, like, some people really would love the smoky pepper. Some people may not like the smokiness. So you have to choose the pepper that's right for the type of meal that you like. And by the way, if you're messing around with peppers and cutting them and touching them with your hands, if it's a very spicy pepper, you may want to wear gloves, because if you touch your eye after you touch the pepper, you could end up having incredible burning. I've done this many times where I didn't realize it, and I ended up burning my eye a little bit. Where you have to put water on it, and it doesn't cause permanent damage. It's just really uncomfortable. But but I think it's important to pick the food that you love and start with small amounts, or if you really love heat, just bring all the heat you want to your favorite foods. But there's it all comes down to individual preferences, and for me, I can think of very few dishes that don't become better if you add a little spice to it. It's just the way that's what. And again, this is coming from a person that didn't like spicy food at all until my wife pushed me into trying it, and then I really got into it. So,
And then you love it now.
oh yeah.
Yes, definitely. It's a part of your daily life now, Mr. Michael. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please to listen to my other podcast. People, my abstract essay is already in fifth season. Abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, a food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love letters in third season, and movie 101 review, music 101 in fourth season, science 101 and sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Michael, if you could have the chef who created your favorite version of your spicy dish make you one more meal, what would you say to them?
Hmm. I would probably. I mean, my all time favorite food is sushi. So for me, I would probably have them make some kind of spicy roll, using fresh jalapenos or fresh serranos,
Wow.
or some kind, or maybe even Thai chilies that would just give me that nice heat, so that I can mix it with a little wasabi, and that's perfect for me. I love all things sushi and sashimi, so that would be probably what I would do.
Definitely. And Mr. Michael deLisser, thank you so much for sharing your favorite food to the world. So can you please invite our listeners to support your book, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yeah, and if you go to my website, which is delisser.com, it's my last name, so DELISSER.com. And right on the front page, there's a link to the book that will bring you out to Amazon to buy it on Amazon. The book is on Amazon. If you go looking without my website, just look for the full word Leadership Accelerators with an S at the end, and you'll find it.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Michael deLisser because if you support him, more and more empowering books to come, more and more spicy food to come. So, Mr. Michael, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate being on your show.
More to come, people. See you soon.